My name is Laura. I am the teacher of the New American Speakers program for this cohort, and I'm so excited to welcome you all to the second storytelling night for our sixth cohort of the New American Speakers program. So I'll just do a little introduction and then we'll get right into our stories. As we all know, refugees are often an easy target for bias and misjudgment, and the treatment and experiences of different refugee communities differ depending on race, class, nationality, gender, religion, and more. Weave Tales aims to break the negative perceptions and existing narratives surrounding refugees by sharing the real stories of refugees told by themselves with the rest of the world. As the world continues to grapple with what DEIB means and how to apply it, especially in difficult states like Florida, Weave Tales focuses on highlighting storytelling as a powerful method for change. The New American Speakers program is designed to help more newcomers and multilingual speakers share their experiences of migration with the general public. So we're currently in our sixth cohort of this 100% online 10-week program, and I'm so excited that a new cohort of students is about to finish the program. I want to give a shout out to the Refugee Storytellers Collective and Refugee Congress for their generous support and partnership for this program. All students who get the certificate from the New American Speakers program and finish the course are added to the Refugee Storytellers Collective and have opportunities to share their stories with more communities. The theme of tonight's storytelling event is storytelling and advocacy, and we have some amazing guest speakers who will be sharing their stories with us today. Using our voices and our stories is just as important now as ever, especially as we continue witnessing the detriments of genocide and violence in places like Sudan, Congo, Tigray, Haiti, and Palestine. I want to let you know that some of the stories shared tonight will be difficult to hear. The goal of sharing stories can be very different depending on who's sharing and who's listening and what space is being created to make that storytelling possible. At Weave Tales, we try to create a space where everybody can feel comfortable sharing their stories. But that being said, every storyteller has different goals. Sometimes we share stories to vent, sometimes to connect, sometimes to process, and we're not always seeking to get a response or to have somebody fix anything that we share that might be sad. Today, we're holding space to share stories for whatever the goal of the storytellers might be. And so some of these stories may be difficult to hear, and I invite you to take breaks, take breaths as necessary. Give me just 1 second. Okay. Our initial guest speaker is not here quite yet. So we are going to move on to our very first storyteller and then do the guest speaker when she gets here. So with that being said, I'm so excited to introduce our first guest storyteller who is a student from our course. I'm so delighted to introduce Kateryna Bikir, a Ukrainian psychologist, educator, life coach, wife, and mother of 3. She immigrated to the United States in 2022 due to the ongoing conflict. Her passion lies in supporting refugee families as she is a strong believer of post-traumatic growth and a dedicated supporter of immigrant women. One of the themes that I hope you'll see tonight is strategies for taking care of ourselves as we tell our stories, and Kateryna is so well equipped to help share some of this. Kateryna's mission is to cultivate trauma-informed communities, fostering open-mindedness and nurturing resilience among refugees. Kateryna accomplishes this through the power of storytelling, psychoeducation, and coaching, as she recognizes the transformative impact of personal narratives. She advocates that every individual can make a positive impact and drive progressive change, regardless of the challenges they face. Kateryna's expertise includes a wide range of topics, including trauma and resilience, immigration, trauma-informed education, psychoeducation, cultural differences, empowering and supporting immigrant women, life balance, and self-esteem. So Kateryna, we're so excited to hear your story.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kateryna Bikir, and I'm Ukrainian. I left my motherland 2 years ago because of war. I was born in Sumy. It's a city just 18 miles away from the border with Russia. All my family remains in Ukraine, in the Sumy region. They live without electricity, in uncertainty, and under the threat of bombs. They don't feel safe because of the bombs and Russia. Even though I'm now in the USA, in a safe place in Wisconsin, I don't feel safe either. Uncertainties about my immigration status, future, and career are frustrating and challenging. Chronic stress is the most permanent thing in my life. I have to admit it's stressful when you move to the new country and you are immigrant and just you don't know anything. You have to learn how to pay bills for your cell phone, or how to order pizza, or how to call a garbage company, and all other small things. But the most painful right now to handle insurance, and when you have to stay online on the phone just a couple hours. I don't know how people work and solve this question. I think every immigrant can relate to the feeling when you have to start over from the very beginning. No family, no friends, no previous experience matter, no web of support, any connections. All expertise, knowledge, and career achievements they left behind. And before you, the scary, long, almost impossible process of licensing in almost all professional fields. I was very lucky. We came to the United States in December of 2022. In the February of 2023, I started to work at school. Some immigrants and Americans would say, oh, that was just a few months. It's pretty fast to get a job. But you know, for Ukrainians, it's a long process, because in Ukraine, people get jobs just in a few weeks. I have 2 master's degrees in political sciences and psychology. Also, I completed a PhD, but never defended my thesis. And I'm fluent in 3 languages, Ukrainian, Russian, and English. And I started working as an interpreter at school. Before, in Ukraine, I had my private practice in psychological private practice. In the USA, I became an aide in a classroom. You know, this is survival job, and it's good that I got it. My therapist kept saying, it's better than to wash dishes in a restaurant. Yes, and I agree, but then I think about how many refugees and immigrants face the same problem. They are staying on survival jobs for decades and never get normal paying jobs that will be on their qualification. And they overqualify, but they staying on low-paying jobs. I was lucky to get a temporary teaching position in August 2023. And I'm lucky to have a permanent contract right now. So I'm safe for next years as long as I want. But this year was really hard. I had to work full time, face all challenges that other immigrants faces, but at the same time, I completed my certification program in order to get my full teacher license. And I know that the same challenges face every refugee in the United States. I was lucky to work in a professional field, and I'm lucky to be an educator and to use my skills. But at the same time, I can go back to my psychological or counseling field because I can get license. And I know how many immigrants are working on underpaying jobs. The very important thing that I'm thinking all the time about refugees and immigrants. Immigrants choose to come to the United States or other country. They preparing for that. But refugees, they're not choosing. They're not just immigrants. They are forced to leave their countries because they can't feel safe in their countries. And you know, it's a big difference when people come educated and they active and they professionals, activists, influencers, they share their stories and they speak English like in our cohort. And like last time we heard Teddy's story, Alice's story. And and they can just adapt in a new country, but it's very different experience when refugees came without language, without education, without web of support, and they even don't know how to use a washing machine. So the cultural shock and lack of resources and adaptation experience would be really different from my experience or any other experience. Often refugees have a safe place to live, but suddenly they realize it's not enough. They're isolated, they struggle, they might be judged by a community, and that they are convinced in crimes and blamed for all problems. They don't feel welcomed. But the only thing that I think they were looking for, not just safe place or to be welcome, they're looking for safe people who can support them and provide this first hand and first help. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Kateryna, for sharing all the different obstacles, but also the lessons that you've learned along the way. I think that's really powerful and very important. And I'm so excited that you're also in school now, continuing your education. So that's great.